Hey, how's it going? So this is my 1 month review of the Hisense Q5. For those of you who don't know what the Q5 is, it's an RLCD screen, which is kind of like the best of both worlds. So it is like an e-ink screen, and that it needs like an external light to view it. So in other words, if you were to go to a dark room, you could not view the content on your tablet, right? But like an LCD screen, it has a pretty high fast rate with no ghosting, right? So I got it because I have eye issues, and so I think it'll help if I'm not staring at a giant light bulb all day. And before I start, I just want to apologize if the screen is shaking a little bit. You know, I am not a professional blogger because of the setup that I have where I work standing up. My tripod does not reach all the way up here, and so I basically have to do this while holding the phone in my hand. So I apologize again if this video is shaking too much. And so without further ado, here, let me show you guys what it looks like compared to a video. So here on the left is just my regular computer monitor, and on the right is the Q5. And as you can see, it's pretty much just as fast as the other one. There's like no delay. There's no lag. Another nice thing I had mentioned originally is that there's no ghosting. So like if this were an e-ink screen and this were like a black screen, and actually let me see if I can find maybe like if I can turn on dark mode. Give me 1 second. Where's dark mode? Yeah. So on an e-ink screen, right? So here I changed the website to dark mode, right? If this were an e-ink screen, what would happen is that as you continue to scroll up, you would start to get ghosting. Like, in other words, you would start to see like previous renders of as you scroll down. But because this is just a regular LCD screen, you don't have that issue. Another thing I should point out is that when I emailed the Dasung, like, because they make I think the monitor, an e-ink monitor, and I asked them about the lifetime. You know, they basically told me that like you're only going to get about 3 years of regular usage with it, and so I don't think that this has that limitation because again, it's just an LCD screen without the backlight. So I think this will last you about as long as a regular LCD screen. And so, as I said at the beginning, this is like my review after using it for about a month. And let me show you guys a little bit of what my day-to-day job looks like. So most of the day I'm in this thing. This is an IDE. I'm a developer. It's basically just text. Another place where I go frequently is my notes. This is my notes. It's basically a giant glorified notepad. And of course, as a developer, I'm also I'm making websites, and so that's why I have the big screen monitor, because you know occasionally I have to verify that colors are rendered correctly, and that the site is pixel perfect. Another reason why I have to occasionally use the big screen is because I do use software that just doesn't render on a smaller size. And so other than that though, like I'm able to spend the majority of my day in this little screen. And so really that's like probably one of the limitations of it. You know, it's very small, you know. I don't know if there's a technology limit for the size, but you know, if they did make it in a bigger size, like even like a 13-inch, I think I could probably almost ditch this, right? Actually, I think I probably could ditch it because I use a laptop, so like if I need to do like verify that colors are okay, I would just use the laptop screen. Somebody had asked before what this looks like compared to an e-ink, and so here let me show you. Let me show you guys how that looks like. Let me get out of this. So here's my Kindle, and that's a comic book. And here's the same comic book on a Kindle, right? So here, let me flip this. Let me go to the next page, and let me do the same thing here on my Kindle, and there it is. There's the difference. And so the main difference, and maybe I should start talking about the disadvantages of the RLCD screen, is the contrast. So immediately, like, these two screens are under the same light, and you can see that the e-ink screen is a lot more readable because it has higher contrast, right? And so in fact, I have, like, right over here, let me step back a little bit, like I have a work lamp shining on it, and I've found that possibly due to the location of where I have my office in the room, where there's no overhead light, like the light that comes from the windows isn't enough for me to distinguish characters on the screen. I should note that I do have bad vision, right? And so, like, you may not need a work lamp, but I found that I do need one because the contrast isn't that great. Another thing that I noticed, and this is only when using it as a like when using the cable monitor, is the fact that here, let me just show you guys what I mean. So here is, hey, don't go there. Here's a website. It's all white, right? Okay. And let me show you guys this same website from my computer when using this as a monitor. Let's go. All right, so let me turn dark mode off, and let me go to there. Here, and the difference will be visible, like, as soon as I show you. So this is that same site, right? Actually, scroll up, scroll down, there it is. And here, let me show you that same site here. So as you can see, the left is what's rendered from the computer as a monitor, and the right is what the tablet renders. And you can see that the whites are whiter, right? It's actually whiter, and so that helps with contrast. And so I think what's happening is when you use it as a monitor, it seems to, like, gray out the whites for some reason, and that reduces the contrast. It's not terrible because, like I said, I've been using this for about a month. It's still usable, but it is one of the quirks. I think Hisense probably needs to, like, get some drivers out for monitors so that they don't do that. And believe me, I have played with my settings on my computer. Like, I have changed it to grayscale, I have changed contrast, and always white just renders as like a gray. However, like, I have run this, and I don't have it set up right now, but I have run the tablet using Microsoft's the desktop client. I think it's called XDRP. And so when you connect to your computer with that, it does not have that issue. So like you'll get whites will be whites as white as they can. And if you do connect your computer with that, you also get rid of the cable. Like I kind of, because of what I do, I do not like any type of lag, and so I choose like to having a snappier, I guess, experience than like having whites. So let me see if I missed anything. So we talked about like the differences between the e-ink and some of the limitations, and I'm pretty happy with it despite the limitations. I mean, the only thing that I wish that they would do is I really wish that Hisense would come out with a bigger screen, right? Like that's really the only limitation. So I totally recommend it. You know, if you have bad eyes like me and you don't want to stare at a giant screen all day, it's definitely worth getting, I think. So